The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
Okay, welcome to the Village of Wappingers Falls second monthly meeting of the Mayor and the Board of Trustees. Today's Wednesday, March 27th. Can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A moment of silence, please. I was just informed that Lou Benedetto passed away today. Thank you. Lou Benedetto was a lifelong resident here in the village and participated in a lot of village events over the years. Very nice man. He'll be missed. The oath of office already took place. We're not doing that here tonight. There's, I'm in receipt of 4 certificates of recognition for the Village of Wappingers Falls Water Department for what they did on November 2nd at the explosion at Brick Row, just off a mill. And they are from Assemblyman Bepan, Senator Rollison, Member of Congress Patrick Ryan, and Dutchess County Executive Sue Serino. The certificates are in your handouts there, and I'll have them out at the end of the meeting if you want to look at them. Everyone that was there that day did an outstanding job, and I'm glad that you're getting recognized. He was the water department at the time, John Kozak. So that was, everyone did an outstanding job that day, and I'm glad you're getting the recognition now for that. Roll call. Mayor Huber.
I am present.
Trustee Nicholas.
Here.
Trustee Tilizak.
Here.
Trustee Nesnick.
Here.
Trustee Williams. Absent. Trustee Ruffin.
Here.
Trustee Smith.
Here.
Village Attorney Lindars. He may be running late.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. I just want to announce that at the end of the formal section of this printed agenda, the mayor will open it up for public comment. Village Attorney Lindars.
Here.
Okay. Resolution number 1524, 2024. The full resolution is in your handout, in your packet.
You skipped over authorization
Yeah.
to pay bills.
Got to back up the authorization to pay bills, clerk.
Oh. Can I have a motion to pay bills?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 1524, 2024, resolution accepting environmental assessment form and authorization circulation to all involved agencies with Village of Wappingers Falls intent to serve as lead agency. This is for the chemicals going into the lake to take care of the water chestnuts problem, milfoil, and that kind of thing.
All right, can we get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
That was,
John? And Joe.
motion to approve the Wappingers Falls Business Association Festival in the Falls, June 1st, 2024, rain date June 2nd, 2024.
Can we get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Approval of, a motion to approve the court audit that was recently performed by the village treasurer.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Approval to allow the treasurer to use New York class as a baking tool.
We get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
That was Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, I have to come out front and go over this package that I received. Treasurer, you have it? Mm-hmm. You all have it.
Yep.
This is the first one that you've seen, this package from the treasurer, summarizing the expenses that have taken place in the past week. That's this one. What it does, it totals out payroll, the warrants, bond payments that were made, and the clearing account, which is for the utilities, water, sewer, and residential garbage. So when you get time, take a look at those numbers, and she will do this and have it for you every board meeting. The reason I really came out is to tell you and everyone, TV land and everywhere else, that we had an audit. It was a very long state audit. It was actually months long. The answer to the oversight board is here in this document, which is also available in my office if anybody wants to look at it. This is the response that the village mayor and trust and treasurer sent back, answering each and every problem they pointed out and what the corrective action was going to be going forward. So that's this. This package I'm talking about tonight is part of the corrective action. That's why I'm going over this. You'll also find in there a copy of all the vouchers. Well, actually, a summary of them all. You'll also find a department breakdown by department, what the general fund has in it, withholding, water, sewer, garbage, police, highway, finance, safety, recreation, court, trustees, fire, mayor. It's all here. All the expenses are there. Okay, for your information. She did a breakdown for March 14th through 24, March 7th, March 1 through March 7th, March 21. So it actually, when you look at this, you can actually see where you're at and what your movement has been during the week that she captured. and it'll show you if you're close to maxing out on your budget, or you still have more in your budget that maybe you had planned on using. It's really a great snapshot of where you are in time. It's a great tool for you to have, and it should answer a lot of your questions that you have during the week or month. You put along the warrants. The warrant shows every single bill that was paid after the board approved the warrants. It lists the date, the vendor, supplier, the description of it, the area code of the department that got billed for it, and there's notes on here if it didn't get paid, or there was a problem with it, or there was a credit, whatever. This is a sizable amount of work that the treasurer has to take on every single time there's a warrant. It's huge. And the finance department, or finance committee, spend a lot of time going through each and every voucher to make sure that they're correct before the warrant is signed. They sometimes spend hours doing it. And I think they do an outstanding job under far less than ideal conditions at times. If you have any questions, save them. But if you have any answers, I'll take them. That's it. Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Mayor, it would be helpful if each department had got their respective department's budget, so that the department had knows where they are with their budget.
So I mentioned that, and I'm looking to do that into the new budgets. Definitely would be. This way everybody's on board of where they're at and where they're not at.
Okay. All right. We said all of that. Monthly updates. Police.
So at 10:59 today, the board and the mayor, we received a commendation letter from the Wappingers Falls PBA for Commissioner Italiano. And some highlights of that letter stated that he's done an exemplary job. He's addressed many safety concerns. He's reconfigured the workspaces at the police department for more productivity. He's currently working on 2 grants for the building. I believe they are for the heating system in the basement and also for the gas power generator to replace that. Is that correct, Paul? All right, good job. He was also commended in this letter from the PBA for working with the DA's office, the district attorney, and receiving the permission to clear many outstanding warrants. That's actually a great achievement. And working with the New York Crime Analysis Center. So those are some highlights of the commendation letter. Also, as everybody knows, Paul did an exemplary job. This was also mentioned in the PBA letter, handling the 2 major events, the Brick Row explosion and the St. Patrick's Day parade. But we all know that all village employees did a great job on those 2 events. So thank you to all of our employees for doing a great job on that. This weekend we did have a problem at the police department with the forced hot air heater. Myself, I responded, and the treasurer, Laura Java, responded. We brought down some just emergency portable heaters, and as it turns out, the Board of Trustees needs to look more at who's going to be doing the building maintenance for that, because it seems that some of the maintenance was not done from maybe June or July, but don't quote me on that. I still have to do an investigation on that and figure exactly what happened.
That was the clogged filters?
Yeah, it was a clogged air filter. Actually, Nate from Northland walked me through the process on how to actually pull it out and then restart the system. So also thank you to Nate at Northland. Those are the major key pieces for police. There are some other hiring, staffing issues. So a couple dispatchers are being hired, or I read the ad. The way that the ad read, it was what, either one full-time dispatcher or two part-time? What exactly were we looking for?
We're trying to determine exactly what would best work to fill the schedule with no overtime.
Okay.
And what's the most economical way to go. So we've advertised for both. I've received, with the new pay raises, I'm happy to say that I've received a stack of resumes, whereas before I wasn't getting anybody applying, so that helped out quite a bit. And we'll be going through those with the head dispatcher in the coming week.
And that's the police update in a nutshell.
Okay, finance, trustee Nesnick.
So you had gone over the court audit, so I just wanted to read the overall evaluation of the court audit for everyone. And it says the court processes are meticulous and well organized, books were up to date, clerks were maintaining all records daily, staff consistent with little to no turnover. So that the audit was actually very well, and they're doing a great job down there, so I just wanted to mention that. And also the Bank New York class, that's an opportunity that's available to us that a lot of municipalities take advantage of. And right now, you have the possibility of putting money in at a 5.25%. So that's, like I said, a lot of other municipalities and organizations are taking advantage of that, and I think it's definitely something that once we start our new fiscal year and the money comes in, instead of just having it in the bank, it should be sitting in an account like this that is giving us a 5.25% rate.
I would agree, yeah.
That's it.
Highway, trustee Smith.
Trustee Tilden.
I believe that's me, John.
Trustee Tillersack.
Okay, highway report for the last month. Much to do with the parade, multiple cleanups before and after, working with the police department to address crowd control and traffic flow, working for cleanup during and after the parade, and the highway department created and painted new wood police barricades, which was useful. Our highway guys did a sewer fix here at Village Hall. It was a poor connection. We don't know when or how old it was, but it caused issues. It has been resolved. At Lower Henry Street at Fulton, there were 4 full trucks of trash removed from the embankments. That's a lot of garbage.
It was.
A dead tree was cut, the bank was stabilized, and there was a drainage issue. Someone had created a
Garden?
a rice paddy, I'm not sure what it was. But all of this has been addressed. But I'd ask anybody, if you see anybody dumping, you let us know, because that's a problem. 4 truckloads of garbage is nothing to sneeze at. In terms of safety, they fixed the bollards blocking the fire hydrant connection at Home Depot, fixed and repaired multiple signs village-wide, and they reset the concrete basin at the nunnery. And you're going to see the guys around. The concrete basins in the sides of the streets are set in item 4. Sometimes they're getting off. That's when you run over them and your car goes bump. They're going to be looking at working at those. They've also been doing item 4 road repairs at Vets Park, up by the Delaverge water tower and the boat launch. Those will be repaired with asphalt when the plants open up, but in the short term, they're just filling the holes with item 4. They did a great job assisting the fire department in slinging and downloading and installing a new Cascade breathable air system for firefighter bottles and installation of seat cover holders at Village Hall. This is just a cooperation thing. That breathable thing is very large. It helps to have more hands. It was loaded down. Everybody worked together on that. They've been doing shop cleanup, continuing personnel development. Also, I don't know if there's in the police reports there, but I believe it was the 16th. There was a hit and run where a lamppost on Church Street was hit.
School Street.
School Street, forgive me. Guys came out, fixed that for us. Once again, we all live here. If we see anything, you want to say something about that. So that's highway.
All right, good job, John.
Okay, safety. At the last meeting, I pointed out some of the problems that they found when were audited by our insurance carrier, and those deficiencies have been corrected. Electric lights, there are 15 double woods in the village. Double woods, for those of you who don't know what they are, it's when they put a new telephone pole up and they leave the old one next to it. The reason they leave the old one next to it is because the old one still has telephone cable lines and all of that on it. Until those lines are removed, we can't move the old one. So if you see a tall pole, that's your Central Hudson line. Those are the high tension lines on top. What they do is then they cut it off, the old one, just above the utility one. And it's very difficult to get them to come back and take that other one down. Jimmy Chase and I walked around last year and we went through every street, everywhere. We found 15 of them in the village. So that's that. On safety again, we had 2 incidences where the toilets backed up here at the hall. It was pretty messy. So we sent a camera through the line, found out where the problems were. They were out front. Highway department did a great job, saw a cut, went down and repaired those 2 broken lines. And we purchased the rapid flush toilets to be able, I don't know if you're aware of those, you flush them, they shoot that water down quick, and it seems to have resolved the problem. That's it. Recreation, Trustee Tilisak.
Recreation. We have the Easter egg hunt coming up this Saturday at Mizzier Park. Keep your fingers crossed for good weather. At the present, we've asked people to register. At the present time, we have, I think, close to 500 kids who have registered to come. Anybody who wants to volunteer, we can always use volunteers, but I do want to recognize the following businesses and individuals. The PBA, Village of Wappingers Falls, is filling all those eggs. They spent a lot of money buying eggs and candies for this hunt, this Easter egg hunt, so we want to thank them. Quincy's, the new candy shop down in the Village Center, has donated a couple of Easter baskets. Beautiful Balloons, that's the party decorating store right around the corner heading up West Main, will be providing a seat for the Easter Bunny and a balloon arch and a balloon animals. We've got donations from Funmax Adventure Park, Alps Chocolate Shop, and Dairy Queen. So we want to thank each of these folks for their community spirit and helping us put this together for the kids. That's it for recreation.
Okay. Mayor, water?
There's really nothing going on in water right now. We're just in a little rut.
Personnel, Trustee Ruffin.
So there is an open position in the building department for a building clerk / secretary to planning and zoning board. That position was previously filled by an employee that had worked with the village approximately 4 years. And we unfortunately lost that Sterling employee to Beacon, to the building department in Beacon. We have interviewed, as our last interview was Friday, and at the last board meeting, the board had authorized the job to be posted, reposted on Indeed.com. We received 2 resumes. One person did not respond. The other person responded and interviewed Friday of last week at 11 a.m. The head of the department, the building inspector, and myself interviewed the candidate. We asked the candidate to complete a short assignment, which is to write a zoning rejection letter. That would be pretty much ubiquitous. Every building department is going to write these types of letters, and that served as a test to this job candidate's skill level. On Sunday, I received the assignment back from the potential candidate. Myself and the building inspector reviewed it, and we both thought that the assignment was well executed. And we would like the board to take a vote to please hire this potential candidate at the going rate, which is the union rate of $22.23 per hour. And the mayor and I believe we previously spoke about it at being a 35-hour per week position. Is that correct, Mr. Mayor?
That's correct.
Okay. And then this would be a non-union or union position, sir?
The union doesn't recognize it, as we were told.
Okay. So if that's what you were told, then I would like to frame the motion as such. Can we take a vote on that?
Good.
Yep. Okay.
Vote.
I would like to make that motion to, go ahead.
Can you reframe that motion?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do I need to put the employee's name in there, or is that?
Yeah, I would put the person you're hiring,
So-
the rate,
The
the start
title?
date, and the title.
So the start date, the job candidate did express that they would need 3 weeks to get hired. So the start date is, unfortunately, it's probably, we're looking at the 17th, the earliest, which would be Wednesday the 17th would be that 3 weeks.
All right.
So do we want to start somebody on the 17th, or would the board prefer to start them maybe on Monday, April 22nd?
The week starts on Saturday.
Week starts on Saturday, so we're looking
22nd?
Monday the 22nd. The potential employee's name is Amber Gendris. The rate of pay is $22.23 per hour. That would be the first rate of pay in the union step, and this would be a 35-hour per week position. In the building department, for building department and secretary to planning and zoning. That would be the official title.
Is that your motion?
That
Here's the
would-
question. If she's non-union, why are you using the union step schedule?
That's a good question. That's what I was instructed to do from the mayor. I believe we'd previously spoken on that, and that was his decision.
That was just, so when we did the hire of the lake and the guy who cleans the park, we started them gentlemen's out at union rate when they were doing it. That was, back at that time, was $18 an hour. So I assumed that we started at union rate.
And also worthy to note, in that resolution, I should add that the insurance buyback would be at 20%.
Correct.
Employee contribution, the union contribution is at 15%. So this particular employee would have a 20% health insurance contribution.
All right, you have a motion on the floor. Do you have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome, sir.
Tri-Muni. Trustee Nesnick.
Actually have a lot going on at Tri-Muni right now. We're in the middle of a lot of I&I. So the municipalities are getting together and coming up with a plan. We have a lot of interested developments coming to Tri-Muni, so there's a lot of moving parts right now. So developing a plan for the I&I.
That's it?
All right.
Mayor, that concludes the printed portion of tonight's agenda.
All right.
If you want to open it up for board discussion and then public.
Anybody from the board got anything?
I actually do.
Sure.
Do you?
Yes,
You can go first.
I'll go first. Okay, it's not in this packet, but the board members received a letter from certain Third Ward residents questioning what we're going to do about the mess that's left over from the brick walk explosion. And I think that's something we need to look into. Can we clean that up?
I would like to clean that up and charge the property owners. Each property owner down there would be
we
in
do
charge.
that?
You could put it on their taxes, because we shouldn't be looking at this. This is from November.
4 months now.
Yeah, like,
I don't know if there's any legal requirement to keep it as a potential.
Did they already do the inspections and everything they wanted to do?
everything's done down there, and they pulled out the excavator that was there, So everything is done, and now it's just a
I know.
pile of rubble.
Yeah.
And we all know how the pile of rubble works in this village. It just stays there and stays there and stays there. So we need to clean this up and make that street presentable. I mean, there are residents down there that live there, and they don't want to look at it. And I wouldn't want to look at it.
What are the legal steps we have to take to do this?
I think the first thing you need to do is get authorization from insurance counsel who's involved in this matter and has been involved with the inspections that have taken place. That to me would be the very, very first step. Make sure that we're not doing anything to compromise the scene in any way. It is my understanding that they are done with all their inspections, but if we're going to start taking action there, I would want something in writing from the parties in that action to make sure we're squeaky clean.
Can you help us with that?
Yeah, I can reach out, find out.
This way, maybe,
Yep, that would be step one.
Can I ask what step
so
2
we can
would
get an
be?
answer
So
by,
we-
so we can get an answer by the 10th, and we can look to do something.
What would step 2 be if, once we get that, just so we can kind of explain things?
I don't know what it looks like down there, so I'm a little blind to what it looks like. I don't know if
I can send you photos if that's helpful.
it might be
Pile of
helpful.
bricks.
Just a pile of bricks. I don't know if any notices have been sent to the homeowners, because if you're going to clean it up and then charge it back to the homeowners on the street, you should probably have a notice to them in the first instance.
We can do that.
But we can look into the specific steps as to what it looks like, because I don't know exactly what it looks like at this point.
Do you want me to send you photos?
Sure.
I'll send you in the next couple of days.
Yep.
That way, if we can get that in our holster, so we're ready to go with it.
All right. Anybody else?
I have a few things to say.
I would like to say one thing before you say something.
Okay.
Just one thing. So, tonight's your last meeting
Yeah.
as my deputy mayor. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Thank you.
And it's been a pleasure on the board. I've sat on the boards with you a few times. So it's been a pleasure, and I just want to say thank you
You're
for all the
welcome.
hard work you've done.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This last year particularly, I think, has been a very challenging year for this village and this board. And even though I've worked with many, many people that have done a good job, and I don't want to leave anybody out, I do want to mention two specific people that it was an absolute honor to work with this year. And one of them is our treasurer, Lori Java. I mean, John came out here tonight and showed you all this work. This all had to be created. All this had to be recreated. I don't think anybody knows what people walked into last year, what Lori walked into last year, and how much work and dedication has been put in this year by this finance committee and Lori to get these kind of things accomplished and get us back to where we need to be. So I do want to recognize her for that and thank her for all her hard work. And I also want to mention, last year at this time, you know, I value our police department. I always have valued our police department, and we weren't in the best of ways last year. And Paul has come on, and I just wanted to say it's been an absolute pleasure to work with you, your professionalism, what you've done for that police department, what you've done for those officers to change their, you know, I was always told by many people before you, it takes 3 years to change a culture, 3 years to change a culture. I think it took you 3 months. So I just want, being a resident here, I just wanted to thank you for all your hard work and dedication and and for your police department. So I think you're doing a wonderful job, and I hope you get the opportunity to keep doing that.
Thank you.
My last thing. Last thing I want to say, and this is not on a positive note, but I feel it needs to be said, is what happened in this room 2 weeks ago, because I'm having a hard time walking out the door with the things that were said to this board 2 weeks ago about an incident that's going on in this village. We were called things like disgusting, shameful, that we should be ashamed of each other, of what's going on here, that was wrong. And that's not, we are faced with things when we sit up here that not everybody else knows the circumstances of. And we need to make decisions on that. And there's a current situation in this village where we have removed the fire vehicle from our fire chief. And it was portrayed at this meeting, and it was spoken about at this meeting as if it was personal, and it was a personal attack on our fire department. That is very untrue. It couldn't be further from the truth. That vehicle was removed because of a situation that that particular person put himself in. Okay? Not us. It's our responsibility to react to it, and we have. And we are still in the midst of reacting to that. But to sit here and be called the names that we were, my family lives here. My children, I've been here for 45 years. I raised my children in this village. I'm raising my grandchildren in this village. To be called the names that we were called last week over somebody else's indiscretion is shameful. Absolutely shameful. Okay? And I've been living with this for 2 weeks, and I couldn't believe it even happened. And then to further put it on Facebook by their family members and say how, and try to even promote it more, to watch the video like they were so proud of themselves, what they had done. And my family has to read that filth, that we're disgusting because of something somebody else did, is just wrong. And I just wanted everybody to know that.
That's right. Amen.
That's right.
Okay? We work hard up here. We are faced with situations, and we have to deal with them. We can't, these people up here, and I'm not going to be here next week. I'll be there, but I'm not going to be sitting right here. And you know what? He is not the mayor for 10 people. These are not the trustees for 10 people. They represent 6,000 people. Okay? And the decisions that have to be made are for the good of the 6,000 people, not the 10 people that come here and complain. Okay? We were faced with a situation. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to face, did you want to face it? Nobody here wanted to deal with that situation. We didn't ask for it. We were put in that situation. Okay? And it has to be dealt with. And the board coming up next is going to have to deal with it. And after last week, when it was put online and it was encouraged by everybody to watch it, to say how awful we are, there's a lot more interest in it this week than there was last week. So I caution you on that. Okay? And as for the incident, that I had to get phone calls, that I was laughing at the elders in our village, absolutely ridiculous. That look on my face that you saw, that you reacted to, was a look of disgust, because the person that was sitting next to you throws up in my face that my house, my home, that when my home caught on fire, the fire chief was at my house, so I need to overlook anything that he does. That's what my face was. I was like, are you kidding me? I had a fire at my home. There were 100 brave men and women there. Fire departments, multiple fire departments. Our police department took me and my daughter out of our home and to the hospital. I had 3rd-degree burns on me. And I need to have that thrown up in my face, that I need to forgive or overlook something that was done because he came to my house. Disgusting.
Yep.
Okay? So that did not sit well with me last week. And I am not, listen, I'm not a showboater. I think on and off you people have seen me on this bench for 12 years. But what happened last week to this board and myself was disgusting. Okay? And I just wanted to say about it. Okay? We have families here. We have families here. And it doesn't need to be put on Facebook. You want to talk about the issue? We'll start talking about the issue. We're quiet because it's our job. You want to know all the facts?
I do.
Okay? So we have a job to do here. And the board behind me will have a job to do here.
Absolutely.
Very well said.
And the people will be watching. And thank you. I thank you for the opportunity of serving you. It's been a pleasure, and I will continue to be involved with what happens in this village and what happens with this board. Because, like I said, my children live here. I have 3 grown children that live here. My grandchildren live here. My husband's had his business here for over 30 years. A success. You know, people talk about how, you know, they give you the impression that they own the town. We all own the town. I might not have been born here. I've been here for 45 years. Raised my family, ran my business, did everything here. I'm just invested as everybody else. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Anybody else?
One over here, Mayor.
Do you mind if I come up?
Yep. Please.
So could you step up and members of the board, I'm Jen Farrell. I work for the police department here. I am also the secretary and treasurer of the Village of Wappingers PBA. To my left is Lou Scagnelli, who is a trustee with our PBA, and the vice president, Jeff Weaver. First, I want to say thank you to Mike Ruffin for acknowledging the letter that we sent to the board this morning and gave some of the highlights. However, I would like to just add a little bit extra to that highlighted letter that I wrote on behalf of our PBA executive board. On the third page of the letter, after the highlighted comments that Trustee Ruffin put in, it says a few different things. It says the Wappinger Falls Business Association has also expressed their gratitude for the professionalism and open accessibility to address the concerns with their concerns with Commissioner Italiano. Albeit all the many positive changes that we have had at our police department, and there have been many, and we thank you guys for that, there have been many unresolved issues that we address in our letter to the board back in October of 23. We hope that the village board and the commission and Commissioner Italiano are able to be successful in implementing these necessary repairs in the discussion, planning, and implementation of his upcoming budget year 2024 to 2025. However, what we can say today is that each and every one of our members is still proud to say they work here under the leadership of Commissioner Paul Italiano. They come to work with pride and confidence and serve the citizens of this village. They are given accolades when due and corrective training when necessary. They put their life on the line for the members of a community for whom many of them don't reside in, and do so with great pride. Our members deserve to have a work environment under leadership that doesn't change with the political tide. We have had 4 different commissioners in 5 years. Choosing to terminate his employment and hire someone else would make 5 in 6 years. Our members deserve to have a leader who is as dedicated and available when you need him, such as Commissioner Italiano is. Commissioner Italiano is always available when needed. He responds to the phone calls, which there are many, and always available to assist our officers without any hesitation. He works well beyond his required contracted hours, which I believe is only 20 hours a week. He puts in 50, and puts forth effort to make sure our department is running effectively. Choosing to reappoint Commissioner Italiano is important for the stability, continuity, transparency, and the morale of our department. Commissioner Italiano has the leadership skills that our agency needs for the future growth of our department. We implore the village to reappoint Commissioner Italiano, and if you choose not to do so, we ask that you give us an immediate explanation as to why not. Choosing to operate a municipality on personal feelings and not productivity is acting out of spite and resentment and speaks volumes of disrespect to our membership. At this time, on behalf of the Police Benevolent Association of Wappinger Falls, we wish to thank you for the appointment decision you made last March and let you know that our members are in full support of the reappointment of Commissioner Italiano to the 2-year term that he is seeking. We look forward to continue working with you We look forward to continuing the positive working relationship with not only the commissioner, but with the village board as well. And I know in the last year we have had a great working relationship with many of the village trustees, and we thank you for that. And that is it. All right. If any of the members of the public would like to see the letter, we will leave copies here for you as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Cars, honorable trustees. My name is Mike Hendrick. I live at 5 West Academy Street here in the village. I have a few questions for you, probably more directed at Mr. Karch. I understand this year that there was early voting in the village.
Right,
That was for the first time.
first time. And New York State for villages, yep.
Can you tell me where that was and when that was? The early voting?
It was on the 19th,
Pardon me?
March 19th, right here in this room.
That was the early voting.
Which one are you talking about?
Oh, it's early voting and the regular voting day.
You want to know when the law was passed for
No.
villages to have
No,
voting?
I understand in addition to the regular vote. When we
Well, there were
come
three-
in here and this is the poll.
There were 3 votes
Okay.
this year. There was the absentee vote, that you could request an absentee ballot.
Right.
There was the early voting, if you were elected not to come here that day and vote. And then there was the regular ballot vote.
That was when we came here.
And you voted and it went in the box. Yeah.
So
Is that your question?
the question is when was the early voting? What day?
All the way up.
It was a lot of days.
There was a time period between when it started and
Oh,
to the day of the
When it
election.
started, I believe
Is
it
that
was.
what you're
I
asking?
understand that
I think it was
there's absentee voting.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me try to finish your question.
Okay, go ahead. Take as much time as you need.
I believe, I don't have my book in front of me, but I think it was January 1st till March 18th,
And that was conducted where?
right here.
Were notices put out? Because I don't remember getting anything
Like what?
about early voting.
Oh, are you asking me if I sent a letter out to every voter?
Did somebody? Not just you, anybody.
I'd have to call the state and ask them how they put the word out. I got it through our organization that we belong to, called Conference of Mayors.
Okay.
That's how I found out about it.
How many absentee ballots were given out this year, do you recall?
I don't have that number in front of me.
Can you guess?
No, I don't guess.
More than what we normally?
More than one, less than 1,000.
More than what you normally would give out?
Absentees? Oh, no, I've had some elections where you got tons of them. I would say it was pretty consistent with a couple of years of the 22 years I've been doing it.
Is there a limit to how many absentee ballots can be given out?
No.
Anybody?
Well, you got to have a reason. You can't just say, give me an absentee ballot. There should be, you're ill, you're incarcerated, you're in the military, you're out of the country. There are a lot of reasons.
So anybody can come in here and ask you for absentee ballots?
Anybody
Not
that's
just
over
for
the age
themselves,
of,
but for anybody?
an absentee ballot application has to be filled out.
Can I cut in here?
Sure.
Are we going to do a question or answers and question comments? in
All right.
this?
Yeah, basically. I said I had a few.
Yeah, I mean, I think
It'll
this,
be leading up to my last statement.
because I think this is more of a conversation we can have in his
I'll-
office.
Yeah, I don't have the numbers with me. I'm
No,
not
all right,
prepared.
fine.
Yeah.
I'll skip that.
No problem.
Are those absentee ballots, and are they validated, the people that turn them in, are they validated by anybody in the village, to your knowledge?
Yes, there's a list, a county list is checked. And I did each and every one personally.
Historically, when a candidate, especially an incumbent candidate, is running for the Board of Trustees, is nominated by both major political parties, they usually won the election here, at least it's what I understand. Wouldn't you agree that the incumbent candidate in the second ward, having received both nominations of both parties, has still lost the election, but what I've been told were 20 write-in votes, that something might be wrong? You don't have to answer that.
Well, I wouldn't know that anyway.
That's what I expect. Does it at least raise suspicion that there might be voter fraud involved? Red flag, if you will?
I don't get involved in that part of the business. I run the village election, but I don't know.
You're
who
the chief
comes.
elections officer, aren't you?
Yeah, but I don't watch people how they vote and ask them how they voted.
No.
Or if you're gonna be out of town, where are you
I'm
gonna be, in
asking-
Hawaii, or are you gonna be in,
No, I'm just asking about the validity of those people.
I don't understand your question.
Does anybody look into those absentee applications and validate the information that the applicant has put on those applications requesting a ballot? In other words, do they live in the second ward where they want to vote? Are they registered voters?
Let me say this about that. My responsibility in receiving an absentee ballot, whether it comes from the individual himself or herself, or is delivered to me by someone else, I check to see if the boxes are filled in, period.
Okay. That's it.
Good.
Are candidates that are running for office, are they allowed into this building when the voting's taking place?
Yes.
They are.
Yeah, well, they gotta vote. They're allowed to vote.
They're allowed to mingle around with the
No,
poll
no,
workers? And
no. But they're allowed in to vote.
They're allowed in to vote. They're
And
not allowed
sometimes-
in to mingle with the workers. Are they allowed to mingle around and hang around inside the hall while the voting is taking place?
I'll check the rule book, but I don't think it says they can mingle around and vote.
Isn't that true that that's what happened this past election?
I'm not aware of that.
Isn't it true that when you were made aware of it,
I'm made aware of it from a third party, but I'd never observed it.
We're not on trial here, so can we get?
No, I don't know. I'm just asking questions. Okay? If he were on trial, it'd be even worse. Isn't it true that not only wasn't? That's all right.
Well, this is like, this is
It
public.
is true, because when you found out about it, you came downstairs and.
Put him down,
Hang on,
please.
we're done with this part.
No, we're not.
This is public comment.
Okay, let me make my comment and then I'll leave. I think I got you upset enough. with
No, you didn't get me upset. It's just,
asking
it's like being on
legitimate
trial.
questions about
Well, I don't mind, Mayor. Let him have it.
I mean, he don't have the answers for you, because it's something you
Okay.
have in his office.
All right, fine.
If
then
if there's something I can't answer for you right now, after running 66
You don't want to
village
answer.
elections,
You don't want to answer that.
I'll have it up in my office.
I'm not even going to get into the part about certifying that. I'll just leave you with, there's a lot to suggest then that this past election has been compromised. The integrity of the poll workers was compromised. The appearance of the candidate in the polls while the election was ongoing certainly gives the appearance of impropriety. If the candidate's mere presence in the polls during the election doesn't, then the fact that the candidate bought all of the poll workers' lunch certainly does. That in and of itself is considered voter interference. The fact that an unusual amount of absentee ballots were cast and probably not verified for accuracy indicates that the possibility of voter fraud certainly exists and should be investigated by the appropriate agency. Thank you very much.
That's it?
Unless you want me to keep going, I'll keep
Yes.
asking questions.
I want to answer all your questions upstairs, all the numbers, everything's up there.
I'd like you to answer the questions that I have before my fellow village residents.
That's not going to happen.
I know that's not going to happen, that's why I'm not going to ask you.
Mayor, that concludes the printed section. And comment?
Yes. What this gentleman is referring to is what I observed with my own eyes on Election Day. I walk in here, and who is standing here but a candidate sipping a cup of coffee? He took one look at me, and he boogied, because he knew he wasn't supposed to be here. At that point, he hadn't even voted yet, okay? As I'm standing there waiting in line for my ballot, the two ladies that were working the polls, one lady said to the other, you know, Bobby's not supposed to be here. And the other lady said, well, he bought us lunch. I want to know if that's appropriate, if you believe that that's appropriate, the way that the village should be running their elections. Because I don't, okay? I don't. And I realize that what's done is done at this point. But going forward, especially nationally, what's going on with all of the different election deniers and all of the problems with our ballots and our voting and everybody questioning everybody else, I want to know that my vote in the village is above board. And I don't feel as though it was. And I don't like the fact that the polling people were put in a position, because I don't think they really thought of themselves as doing anything wrong. A gentleman bought them lunch, period, okay? I don't think that they meant any harm, okay? But by the same token, it is kind of taking it's taken kind of a bribe type thing, Maybe not a bribe, but it's not right. It doesn't look right. And it doesn't make a voter that walks in here to vote feel good about that, So I just want to know that going forward, people are not going to be able to behave in that manner.
The poll watchers get very clear direction from me, every one of them. They're very experienced. They're told in the morning, and I'm not sitting out here all day long for 12 hours watching everyone. They are told there's no idle chit-chat taking place in here. People come in here, get their ballot, cast their ballot, and leave. Okay?
Well, I was a witness that that's not what happened.
Yeah, and you called me immediately.
That's correct, I did, and you...
And right after you called me, I came down here and I told them all, knock off the bullshit, okay?
I believe you. I believe you because
Come in here.
somebody told me that you did.
I did. That's the way I am. And there's people here that will tell you, I run it. When I'm here. When I'm not here, I'm hoping that they're doing their jobs and they're moving people along. I don't know, all of it. But if it's ever brought to my attention, there was idle chit-chat, somebody was hanging out here, doing stuff they shouldn't have been doing, I will be here in a heartbeat.
Right.
And I did.
I understand that is exactly what happened, that you did handle it immediately as soon as I phoned you.
Yes.
My question, though, is that you can't be in two places at once.
Right.
You can't be upstairs in your office doing your job and sitting here watching to make sure that you have, that people are adhering to the rules and regulations.
I ran 66 village elections. This is the first time I've heard that.
Well,
In all of those elections.
okay. Well then, maybe
I
it was an
don't know.
anomaly, and maybe it will not happen again.
Well, all I can do is sit down with the poll watchers in the morning and tell them, the inspectors, not the poll watchers, they're inspectors. They are election inspectors. I sit down with all 7 of them in the morning and they, yep, we understand. And then they set up and I leave. I do come in periodically, probably once an hour. Certainly would come in after a resident called me. And
What about
address it.
candidates themselves? Are they
As far as
not?
buying lunch, I don't know. I don't know how we can manage that.
Well, I just don't, it's almost like they took a gratuity.
Don't let
It's like,
anybody buy the lunch.
You can get as angry as you want if that's what you're doing. But I'm not trying to give you a hard time about this. I agree that you handled
Told
it.
me, I addressed it.
Right. But I just want to make sure it doesn't happen again. Okay?
I'm not going to guarantee that it doesn't happen again.
Well, then who can?
Mayor?
Yes.
If I may say something? I am John Toloshak. I am the treasurer of the Village Democratic Party. And I can tell you that historically, many times, what would happen is the Democratic Party would buy lunch for all the poll workers and the Republicans would buy dinner or vice versa.
Okay.
I do hear what you're saying, and I mean, I'm not sure exactly what went on, but I can say, speaking for the Village Democratic Party, we won't buy anybody any lunch. We'll tell them to bring lunch going forward.
Well, I don't have a problem, like I said, with an individual buying the poll workers lunch, just not a candidate. Just not a candidate. If the Democrats want to do lunch, the Republicans want to do dinner, I don't care. But a candidate shouldn't be hanging around sipping coffee. I'm sorry. Am I wrong here? I mean, am I nuts?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, and it shouldn't happen.
But a candidate should know that, correct?
Correct.
Bottom line is, seems, excuse me.
Anybody else?
if I
Thank
may.
you. I'm done.
You're done? I'm
Yes,
sorry.
yes.
Frankie, please come up.
I was actually here the night of the vote. My name is Mike Colvin. I don't even know this gentleman at all, but I just heard he was raising some concerns. I happen to know some of the numbers because I was here. I believe, and if I'm wrong, it would be off by maybe 1 or 2 votes. there was 57, I believe, absentee votes, which is outrageous in any town.
It's
We're
such a
talking
small area.
57 absentee votes where people were just all gone in the second ward. We live here. You know what I mean? You look at names, you see them. It's these people were here. You know what I mean? Bobby went, I guess, and got all these absentee ballots. I actually said something to you that we wanted to actually challenge that because I think if at the very least, he used the wrong ballot. And he had all these people promise that, swear, oh, I wasn't here, because that's basically an absentee ballot. And an early voting ballot is something different. He had 57 of them. Really? And there's something that I feel like if you have an early voting ballot, as soon as you have the opportunity to vote early, an absentee ballot should be kind of voided out because your absentee ballot is giving you a chance to vote if you're not going to be here. But if there's early voting at the time, then you are here. So that should be an incorrect way to vote. And whatever, this gentleman that said something, I wasn't going to say nothing. But this is the way I felt. You know what I mean? If you're in town and there's early voting, then you have an opportunity to vote early voting. Not absentee and swearing that you're not going to be here when all these people are here. I mean, he's got people that I know who own places, and they're in their place of business. You know what I mean? They were there. You know what I mean? You weren't in Hawaii. You weren't anywhere. You were here. And I think that's crazy that that's allowed. And 57 votes absentee is ridiculous. If you go to every election you've ever had, you've probably never had that. Never had that. And he had them straight. So it is what it is. Like I said, I don't know where he's going, but I found that funny myself. I think it's wrong, and it should be addressed.
All right. Charlie? I did see your text.
But I want to make it has nothing to do with the election. It has to do with the way meetings are run.
Yeah.
Remember a couple of months ago, I was here questioning about the audit.
You did, and I've answered your questions, and if I didn't answer your question, I promised you I'd get your answers back, and I did believe I did that. So,
But I was told that the following meeting when I came back, I was told that new procedures hadn't been put in place by the board, and that was the public is allowed to address the board, but can't ask questions. So I was home actually watching the meeting from home, and I saw John Carge being grilled like it was an episode of Perry Mason.
Yeah.
And I said, I can see a good reason why you wouldn't want to have questions when you look at something like that. But then again, do we have that rule or we don't? Because I'll come ask questions if I can. I was told I couldn't.
well, I mean, I like to make everybody, I like to hear everybody, and I'd like to speak on everything. I mean, I'm being told we don't have to answer the public's questions, but I'm not like that, as you know. I like to, if there's a problem, I like to talk to people, right? So I'm one of them that likes to talk to people, so I will sit up here and talk to you.
I just think it has to be consistent.
I
posted somewhere something, no questions.
Yes.
1 question, 3 questions.
Yes, I would agree. I would agree because it gets time consuming, and the questions pile on and on and on, and it gets heated, and we all.
Okay.
But I understand where you're coming from, Charlie. I do. Thanks.
Thanks for coming out, Charlie.
Anybody
Anything else? Mayor, we do not have anything on the agenda for executive session.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Maybe, why don't you make the
All in
motion?
favor?
Well,
Carried.
I'll make a motion or second it.
All
Aye.
right. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jen, I'm sure.